I remember in class, like having this, all these awesome things set up for the kids and then going, okay, this is going to be the best lesson ever. And they come in and it just is a bit of a flop. So welcome to our CAFS crew over on Facebook. We had a few technical issues with my Instagram. The camera kept moving. So I literally was moving down the screen. So it wasn't very attractive. Hey, Beth, thanks for coming back, Beth. Okay, so tonight we're talking about why writing notes just doesn't cut it anymore. And I think I've had these conversations with many of you guys over recent times. And I think I do get on my soapbox about this because I can just remember the countless hours and hours and hours that I've wasted with my students standing at the front of the classroom, getting my kids to write notes, and then running out of time to actually apply that content. So picture this. We had in our school, so I worked in an all-girls Catholic school, we literally had a bit of a stage at the front of one of our classrooms, and I thought it was quite hilarious, being really kind of new to teaching. I thought I kind of felt like I was performing. So I've done drama. If you haven't followed me before, I did drama from year 9 to year 12. Don't ask, guys. I did a solo for my year 12 performance on the Crucible, not the Crucible. It was kind of like a bit of a take off the Crucible. Anyway, long story short, I felt like I was on the stage in my CAFS classroom all the time because I was standing at the front. And I think I did, often I felt like I was performing. I was up at the front, I was, running the show, getting my kids to do everything, getting them to write notes on the board. But you know what was happening in the background? My kids were just like this, like blank faces. I wasn't very engaging at the beginning because I think I didn't really know the importance of that application of our course. I literally was the giver. I was such a giver of information. I think I pretty much probably gave a lot of information, way too much information to my kids. It was probably going over their head. It was just going in one ear, out the other. But I wasn't really, I wasn't really engaging my students like how we should be with that syllabus. So I want you to pop in the comments and let me know if you think you're a sage on the stage at the moment, or if you think you're trying to bridge that gap. So write stage or students in the chat space and let me know if you think you're starting to kind of engage your students in the classroom, you're making them owners of their learning. Are they the ones who are actually, engaging with you? Are they the ones who are sparking that conversation? Or are you still leading the show? So pop students in the comments if you think your students are kind of really engaged in the lesson, they're the ones who are driving the learning, or is it still you as the teacher? So we could either go, let's just go stage for you as the teacher running the show or the kids. Pop it in the comments because I'd really love to hear from you guys about where you are on your journey, because tonight is a conversation about what we need to do to possibly move our kids and really get them to apply the content. So pop in the comments, either stage or students, whether you think it's you or them really running the show. Because I know when I first started teaching CAFS, it was literally, like I said, me out the front, me running the show and really having little engagement from the kids. There was lots of discussion, definitely lots of discussion with my students. But what I think I may have gone wrong is that I thought I should be the one giving all the information and not being, not trusting the kids to really start engaging. Hey, Danielle, nice to see you. So again, we're talking about why writing notes doesn't cut it. And I think, like I said, I would literally have, I think in one classroom, I might have had 2 whiteboards happening. I would literally start from one end to the other. So I'd start on, one board, fill that all out. Then I'd go, all right, girls, once you get to the bottom, I'll do like a little arrow, go up to the top. Okay, that's where we're starting next, and literally have a whole page, a whole whiteboard, of notes. Now, what was that doing for my kids? It was like one way. It was one-way learning. It was getting the kids to just simply copy the notes down. Countless of whiteboards, I would go through so many whiteboard markers because I was just getting my kids to write copious amounts of notes. And I know I did that for too long, I think, because I thought that's what you did. I really thought that's what teaching was. And I had the most amazing teachers, at my school. I went to Catherine Macaulay, beautiful teachers. But I reckon at some point, some of them were still writing way too many notes on the board. And I just kind of watched them and observed them and thought, well, is that teaching? That must be teaching. I must just give my kids notes, just notes the whole time, and not actually get them to apply their content. Hey, Sam, nice to see you. So, fast track kind of, I suppose, fast tracked when I went on maternity leave and I came back. So I had 2 lots of maternity leave. So Cass is 12 this year and Lexi is 9 this year. Showing my age there, guys. And, you know, I had 2 lots of maternity leave and I absolutely have no regret taking that time off with the kids. But when I came back from taking Lex, from having maternity leave with Lex, I came back a little bit early. Don't know how I feel about that now, but at the time I was like, yep, I'm coming back. It was IRP time, so I wanted to come back to start that from the beginning in term 4. And, you know, my principal at the time said, Kell, we'd really love to have you. We can't find anyone else to job share with Christy. I job shared with my best friend for a really long time. She was my maid of honour. We went to uni together and we're really lucky. So I came back and Christy had them for a little bit before I kind of came into the class. And I think they got the shock of their life because I was very different to maybe some of the other teachers. And I kept pushing this. I kept saying, okay, girls, what do you think? What's your interpretation of this? Or let me know what you think. You know, let's kind of dive into this. And, you know, I'd kind of like pick students out. You know, Hannah, what do you reckon about this? Josephine, what are your thoughts? You know, Megan, get my students involved in the conversation. And I remember one girl putting her hand up and she said, Miss, I'm like, yes, Josephine. And she said, we just want the notes. I said, oh, excuse me? She's like, we just want the notes. And I was like, okay, all right. That's a bit interesting because it kind of took me back a little bit. I was like, I've worked so damn hard for this. I know what it takes. I've, you know, presented professional learning across New South Wales for a number of years. I have 2 textbooks under my belt and been involved in lots of PL, and you're kind of questioning my teaching methods. I'm like, okay then. And I got a bit flustered. I don't know if it was because I was, you know, probably a bit hormonal or just coming back from mat leave. But I said to her, trust me on this. I want you guys to apply your understanding. Writing notes is going to do nothing for your learning. It's just literally a one-way show, a one-way street. I want you guys to start engaging with the content. I want you guys to apply your understanding of what you're covering in the syllabus, not just simply regurgitating information. And I think way too long in CAFS, in other courses, I'm talking like around New South Wales, HSC, even in our juniors, I really think that we've been just getting our kids to regurgitate information. And I don't know about you, but I don't learn like that. I need to see it. I need to touch it. I need to feel it. I need to experiment with it. I need to apply my understanding before I actually have grasped that content or that concept. So please pop in the comments if that is completely resonating with you, or choose an emoji that best represents how you're feeling about that, because I think I get really, really not emotional about it, but I get really passionate about it because I think our kids deserve more. Our kids deserve more than us just kind of writing copious amount of notes on the whiteboard. And I was instructional leader for the best part of like 2 years, say, in my previous schools. So before I left the classroom, I was instructional leader, and I would literally walk around our school. So we did quality teaching rounds, and I got to see, hey, Tegan, nice to see you. We got to see what, you know, other classes were like. I ran that. So I kind of walked around and I would often see textbooks on the desk, textbooks all around the classes, and in on the, you know, student's desk in like 2 little rows, teacher at the front, and the textbooks were on every single desk of the students. And that wasn't just one lesson. Like, it wasn't, you know, when the casual was there, or if you couldn't be bothered, or if you had no time, you ran out of time, your kids were sick, or you were feeling like, you know, weren't feeling up to it. I saw this day after day after day. And it made me think, you know, what are we doing with the kids? What are we doing to actually teach them? Are we actually getting them to apply their understanding of the content, or are we simply givers of knowledge? And look, you know, I've been teaching since 2004, lots of different experiences, professional learning across New South Wales, worked with you guys, so my coaching, mentoring, but also worked with lots of students across the state. You know, I've been doing lots of HSC revision days over the years, and I think you can see it, like with the kids, you can see that they're simply recalling information. They know the glossary of keywords a little bit in terms of definitions. They can recall the acronyms. They're really great at doing that. But what they're missing is the application of the content. And I think tonight is really about having a conversation a really open conversation about what we can do better. And I think our kids deserve it. So I'm not getting on my soapbox about this because I think we should be doing better. It's because I get to see what the students are, what they're grasping, and they're still just grasping that surface level understanding of our content. I'm talking about the Learn Abouts, Learn Tos. So we know that in our syllabus, we have our Learn Abouts, Learn Tos, and often that is, in the past, our HSC questions were guided by that. And I spoke about this the other night. That is no longer the case. Our students have to apply their understanding to content all the way through the course. And it's really important for them to start to see that really detailed understanding about what they should be doing in class to apply their understanding. Higher order thinking, getting the kids to have a scenario, a situation, getting them to apply their understanding to that. So let me give you an example tonight that I want to share with you guys. So back in 2010, so when our eldest was a newborn, the HSC question for 2010 for our question 21, so the very first one on the paper was this: outline the advantages and disadvantages of gathering information for research from both print sources and from people and individuals, and that was worth 8 marks. And literally the syllabus is that: sources of data, individuals and groups, print and digital. Discuss advantages and limitations of each of the sources of data. This question is straight from the syllabus. There's not really much application. It's simply regurgitating information from the syllabus and hopefully the kids getting the right bits together. Fast Track 2020, we have a question, again, very first question on the paper, 4 marks this time only, but outline the criteria a researcher should use when selecting secondary sources to use in a literature review. Now that's taking 2 separate parts of the syllabus and bringing it together. So 2 sections of the syllabus, bringing it together and getting the kids to apply their understanding. So the first one is types of data, both primary and secondary. They're drawing out their ideas on secondary data. And then literature reviews. They have to kind of recall, okay, literature reviews, where is it? Okay, I need to now unpack my information on literature reviews and apply it to that. Like, what is the researcher going to do when they're choosing what to include in their literature? So, look, that is a very simple example. And this is, I'm literally reading this from Strive, my signature course around fast tracking writing and results to really improve our students' results in CAFS. And I could give you maybe another 20 examples of that where in the past we had Learn About, Learn To, direct HSC question. Learn About, Learn To, direct HSC question. It's really, now it is really, like I said last night, stripping the content right back, but getting the kids to apply their understanding on a much larger scale. The kids deserve this, guys. The kids deserve that application rather than us just feeding them information, feeding them information. They need to really apply their understanding in a variety of different contexts. So not just what's in the syllabus, but making those connections across the syllabus in multiple ways is really key here. And I think it's really important for us to, provide the kids with lots of detailed, ideas and understanding about what that looks like. It's really important that we're doing that right from the very beginning. So let me know. Hey, Hannah, nice to see you. Let me know in the comments maybe how you guys have done this. So what are some ways that you have been experimenting with, or if it's something new to you, let me know. This is just write new. This is new to me. Or I've been trialing this for a while. It might be something that you, have been working on, because I think it's really important that our students are actually applying their understanding in multiple different ways. So I think the important part here is really getting the kids to know where the content is, like be able to kind of strip it back, find it in the content, then go, okay, well, I need to piece these ideas together. I know my Learn About, I know my Learn To. And, look, I remember getting my students to cut up the whole syllabus. I'm not sure if you guys do this as well, but cutting up the whole syllabus and piecing it all together. That's a really fun activity to actually get the kids to go, okay, I know this content, I know where it all fits together. What the kids might not do correctly or as strong as what we want them to do is actually finding those bits together and then applying that understanding to that content. Remember, the HSC are unseen questions. We can't teach the test, of course. We don't know what's in there. So it's getting the kid to really be aware of lots of different connections across the course. So really, this doesn't cut it anymore. We're in 2022. Our kids deserve more than this, than us just walking into a classroom, getting the textbook and literally rewriting the textbook on the board. And as I said before, that was me. And I was writing stuff from the textbook, the purple textbook from the beginning, who've been around for a while, the purple textbook from the start. And then, even in, the early 2000s, 2006, 7, still doing that, thinking that was how you taught. You taught from the textbook and you got the kids to regurgitate information from the textbook. I think the kids deserve better, and I think working out ways to best, apply their understanding. So what does this look like? You're probably asking, what does this actually look like, in that context? Jenna on Facebook has a question. Hey, Jen, nice to see you. Are we expected to provide students the opportunity to apply their understanding to the content every lesson? To have students engaged in those activities can be time-consuming and takes up a lot of the lesson. What would be a good balance of incorporating those activities? I absolutely love your question, Jen. And Jen and I have worked together for a little while at Nagel, in fact. So, Jen, thank you for your question, because I think it's a really important discussion that we need to have. So inside Strive, I'll show you guys what my ideal lesson looks like. And I said to the CAFS Collective members last week, I want you guys to hook your students in. I want you to provide activities that hook them in, because we want them to engage and really excited about what they're learning about, rather than just like, oh, okay, textbook out, turn to page 15, we're doing the same crap every lesson. The kids deserve more than that. So inside Strive, I literally unpack what this looks like. But in a nutshell for you guys for tonight, I just want to quickly go over what that would literally look like for you in CAFS, in PE, and Jen, I know you're teaching PE, in Exploring Early Childhood, in SLR, in D&T, 7 to 10 PDHPE. I don't care what it is, but getting the kids to apply their understanding. So what you want to be able to do is hook them in really engaging activities to start with. You need to teach them some sort of content, Jen. So have that content there, a little bit about the notes, maybe providing the notes to the kids. And I know, Jen, PE is very heavy, same as CAFS. So giving the students the notes that like Josephine wanted. I just want the notes, possibly from the textbook or from other resources that you've created yourself, because sometimes textbooks are outdated. Look, our textbook is, outdated. 2013 is when we wrote it. So, that's nearly 10 years old. Up-to-date resources, and it is a bit time-consuming finding up-to-date resources, but we need to, especially for PE, any of our statistics for CAFS, we need to make that really kind of relevant. And then, so I reckon if we had, say a whole lesson, say 60 minutes, maybe 5 to 10 minutes on the hook, maybe 20 minutes on the actual content, you then have half an hour of really getting the kids to apply their understanding of content. The regurgitation part, Jen, is like our band 3, our band 4 kids. They've been there. They've been in the class. They've sat there. They kind of know a bit of the content, but are they actually able to apply that to a higher order question, to really detailed content that we want them to cover? And, I've had these conversations with colleagues before, and some really heated conversations about what this looks like. I just want to get through the content. I just want to mark it off. I just want my kids to get the notes. They literally said this to me. I just want them to get the notes. And I'm like, well, what else are you doing in that classroom? What are you teaching them? Getting them to write down what's on the board every single lesson. Is that really teaching? And I think, I know that might be a bit of a shock to some of us, that, that's what we're used to, because we watched our colleagues, we watch our, our coordinators, we watch our, we watch our own teachers teach us. But really getting the kids to apply their understanding is doing practical application of the course. And I know it's time consuming, but it does take a little bit of time to really go, okay, I literally have 7 terms with these kids to get it right. I want them to understand the content really, really deeply. And the best way to do that is that application. Jen, please let me know in the comments if that answered your question. And I completely agree with you. It is time consuming, and it does take a bit of time and practice. But I think you will see the success. look, I was never the best teacher in the world, no teaching award over here. But I think that, I get to see what how students are applying their content, or how they're understanding stuff. And I think you see it, like they can recall the acronym, they can give a definition, but they can't actually apply their understanding of content. They can't kind of sit back and go, where do all these bits fit together in the big grand scheme of things? And I think that's what's really missing in our students. I'm talking in our junior 7 to 10 PE and TAS, certainly in PE, and of course in CAFS, like we talk about all the time. So Jen, please let me know if that resonates with you, or if you have another question, because I think it's really important to open up this conversation about what it looks like. And I completely get it. You guys are time poor. We're in week 4, and I know that you're chasing your tail still because, COVID, 1,000 different things, chasing our tail, getting back into the swing of things, lots of different, things happening in our classes. Okay, so Jen, you've said it does. I completely understand what you're saying, but I do struggle to have interesting activities every lesson. I have more content in senior and very quick activities. Look, I agree, having those activities every single lesson does take time, but just starting and working slowly together. Look, the best thing I did was working with a colleague, especially in the senior campus. We were literally on the same page. We would divvy up the content and go, okay, can you create some sort of activity around this? Let's give the kids the notes. Let's stop wasting time on actually getting the kids to write the notes. Let's actually give the notes to them. Let's do some sort of literacy activity. Let's do writing the reading where you highlight different parts of it. Let's get them to pick out certain points, or they might do like a gallery walk on some information and write it down. They might do give one, get one, when they share ideas with each other. But getting to really unpack the content after they've just got, here's the note, okay, let's just understand it. I'll do a bit of chalk and talk. It does warrant discussion, of course, but what they need to do is really apply the content. Jen, you have said our discussions are always meaningful and great, but is that also considered an applicable activity? Jen, yes and no. Great discussions. I had lots of great discussions in my classroom, but the best activities that happened was where I put my kids into the situation, where I got them to actually apply the content. So what that might look like, it could be, let's go CAFS, because that's what we're talking about tonight. Let's go different scenarios, okay? You might have a single mother, you might have an aged carer, you might have an Aboriginal elder, you might have a young person in the community. Okay, let's think about those different situations. Let's now apply it to a certain case study, and then they might have to create a table or some sort of, getting to think about that content in a higher order way than just writing the notes. And a note does take a long time to really develop those activities. Many of you guys have taken Exploring Your Living CAFS, Strategic Approaches to the IRP, and Strive last year. 65 of you guys took up Strive. And it is, I think for us to model it and to see what other people are doing is important. And I think it does take time to create those banks of activities that go, yep, this is spot on. This is really what I want for my kids. So Jen, don't be too hard on yourself. I know that you're doing an amazing job and you always work very diligently, but it is a matter of building up that bank that really gets the kids to apply that understanding. And I really think that, teaching the kids the skills in CAFS and even PE is the key way to improve those writing skills, those literacy skills that we are always talking about. If we're just getting the kids to write notes from the board, what is that teaching them? It's literally teaching them to copy and paste something. We don't want that. We don't do that as, as professionals. We summarize things. We then kind of, look at it a different way. We get to apply our understanding in lots of different scenarios. We want our kids to be able to do that. So Strive is literally the only course at this point in time that does that. It gets the kids to apply their understanding. And I'll show you inside Strive what this looks like. Because, like I said to you guys before, the game has changed. Learn About Learn 2, HSC question. It's not like that anymore. Getting the kids to apply their understanding in lots of different ways across the course is really crucial. That rote learning that we used to do as students, I graduated in 1999, showing my age here. Many of us in the early 2000s, many of us are still teaching like that. Rote learning, here's the content, write the notes, away you go, next lesson. Write the notes, next lesson. Like, it's the same crap. It's the same crap every lesson. Our kids deserve more than that. So please pop in the comments and let me know if this is resonating with you at all, if you have a question. And thanks so much, Jen, for being so open and honest and sharing what you're experiencing, and obviously opening up your classroom and what you're kind of experiencing at this point in time, because I know all of us have been there and done it. I was there. I was there for 16 years, slogging away, creating these things. And I think, look, inside Strive, I've spoken about Strive the last 3 nights, the last 3 days. It literally has. I was trying to look today inside. So I created like PDFs and all of the lessons and everything in there. Literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of activities that you can go, all right, module whatever. Module 5 is all about, improving my students' writing skills. I'm going to print off that activity that really shows them what a pure paragraph structure looks like. Print that off. I get them to then, use a template, get to unpack an example together, get to use that template straight away. Module 6 is all about, the glossary of keywords, showing that to them, looking at language to including their responses. So literally hundreds and hundreds of resources have been written for you. I feel very blessed because I get to sit back and stand back from the classroom and go, if I was to teach this stuff from the beginning, what would it look like? If I was to teach my kids how to write or how to really improve their writing, what would this look like? And literally things I've written inside Strive have been things that I've wanted to do for so long, for I reckon the best part of 12 years. I now have the time to sit back from the course and be able to do that. I'm not sure who this is, sorry, because sometimes it doesn't come up as whoever it is, but one of you beautiful CAFS teachers has said, I did your blue activity today in year 11, unpacking a question, working in groups to highlight parts of the question. So please let me know who it is in the comments. I'm maybe thinking it's a Striver or possibly someone inside Exploring Year 11 CAFS. But GLUE is my acronym that I use to basically prove that you've answered all the parts of the question. So GLUE stands for glossary, link, knowledge and understanding of the U, and then are my examples in there. And inside Strive, I literally show you guys about what that looks like. I give you lots of templates, literally like PDFs that you can kind of print off, like I said, laminate them, use them again and again and again with your juniors, with your year 11s, with your year 12s, to really nail that pure paragraph structure, to really nail those glossary of keywords, to really nail those really explicit examples. And I call them suave examples. You might have heard me say that before, but really specific, unique, varied, explicit examples that are going to prove to the marker that they're nailing their stuff. Hey, Kim, nice to see you. Hey, Beth. It is Beth. Hey, Beth. I think it is really important about getting the kids to have that practice of that writing over and over again to really nail it. So let me know if you have any questions about, what it looks like to really start to get rid of the notes, start to kind of wean the students off writing the notes. And I know when that student made that comment, I was like, I feel like saying to her, trust me on this. Like, and I think I did say that out loud. Trust me, because I know I get to see it. I get to see, how you guys are going. I get to see, the end game. I see how you guys write inside, a lot of, study sessions and that sort of thing. I get to see what the kids are doing and where the gaps are. This is literally why I've created Strive, because there are so many gaps in not the understanding part. The kids are nailing the content mainly. It's these writing skills that we want them to be really, really explicit, really detailed, so they show off what they know. The kids know the content, but they often find it very hard to articulate what they're saying because they don't have a clear scaffold. They don't have a clear pathway to success. So please let me know if you have any questions about Strive, about writing. Look, this is literally something I'm really proud of. I absolutely loved writing it. I think it took me nearly 6 months to write it. Me, myself, and I, writing it with all of my experience, 16 years in the classroom, 12 years of professional learning, 10 years, 12 years, I don't know, just all runs into the next. Countless years of presenting HSC revision days across the state, I reckon for about 3 or 4 different organisations over the last 12 years. So, and working with you guys now inside the Learning Network, my coaching mentoring sessions, in my master classes, and hundreds of different CAFS teachers. and students across the state. So again, thank you for joining tonight. Sorry about our hiccups before, but please let me know if you have any questions about Strive. Strive is now open, and look, hundreds of resources in there for you guys to literally plug and play. Along the way, printing off, using your classroom straight away. So let me know. Early bird finishes on Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock. And I know you guys are really time poor and super busy, but if you want to take advantage of that, it does close on Friday. So grab that paperwork in, and hopefully I'll be able to see you guys inside Strive. Until tomorrow night, if you haven't registered for our webinar, head over to lynette.com/results, and we can dive into so much more. This is literally just scratching the surface. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great night. Take care.